1, week 13, part 7. So he says that it's not your it's not the situation that's causing you pain and unhappiness. It's your beliefs about it. So like the one example I would give is that like if somebody dies and you feel sad, um, you think I'm sad because that person died. Perfectly normal thing to think. But the Stoics will point out that everybody dies and that death is a part of life. And what's really causing you pain isn't that that person died. It's not something outside, because it's not that that person over there died. That's not what's upsetting you. What's upsetting you is in here, you believe on some level that no one should ever die. So that the pain is not being caused by the fact that that person over there died. The pain is being caused by the fact that you believe on some level, you believe that nobody should ever die. And that's why when they die, you're like, oh, that's crazy, that shouldn't have happened. But actually, not only should it have happened, it's the only conclusion to anyone's life ever. Everybody dies. Welcome to the only game in town. And so what's causing you pain isn't the dying person. It's your belief that they shouldn't die. But you shouldn't have that belief. Everybody dies. One of the reasons why you believe, no, but here, why do people think, why, that's crazy. Why would someone believe that no one should ever die? Because we're told to think positive, think good thoughts. Well, a good thought would be, wouldn't it be nice if everybody lived forever and nobody ever got sick and died? You see his point? It's that what's causing you pain may actually be thinking positively, because thinking positively means never thinking about death. And then when someone dies, you're incredibly unhappy because you believe they never should have died in the first place. And why do you believe that? Because you never think about death. You don't like to think about it. It's a bad thing, and so you want it to go away. But death is not going away. Every single life ends in death. One of my favorite philosophers said, we do not die of being sick, we die of being alive. That's a good point. That's a very good point. We do not die of being sick, we die of being alive. Like, you go, oh, the sickness killed him. Well, something was going to kill him, right? It's the only game in town. But we don't like to think about it. And as a result of not thinking about it, we end up with screwed up beliefs in here. Again, breakups are painful because, are you upset because someone broke up with you? Or are you upset because of your belief that you should be with that person forever? That they should love you? See, what's causing you the pain? Is it the person who broke up with you, or is it your belief that they should love you forever? And should you be having that belief? Is that like a reasonable thing to believe, that that person should love you forever and ever and ever? See, so the point is, the Stoics think stop focus. And a lot of people, when they're in pain and they're unhappy, they try to change the outside circumstances, right? They try to fix what's going on around them. And the Stoics will tell you, don't do that. Don't fix what's going on around you. Fix what's going on in here. Because if the real problem is your beliefs, then the work needs to be done here. That's why we do philosophy. That's why we read these books. That's why we think these thoughts. Okay, this is going pretty good. I like it. I feel like this is... I wasn't sure I'll even like this essay. And I'm kind of getting into it. Okay, cool. All right. All right, let's keep going. For positive thinkers, this would be an argument for trying to replace your distress-causing beliefs with upbeat ones. Because usually people who are like, glasses half full, think positive, would tell you to think happy thoughts. But when thinking about the future, Stoics such as Seneca, the most famous Stoic, Stoics such as Seneca counseled actively dwelling on worst-case scenarios instead, staring them in the face. Not only does ceaseless optimism make for greater shock when things go wrong, and they will, imagining the worst also brings its own benefits, right? So he says it's actually a good idea to imagine the worst. I have found, I'll tell you the truth, I found in my life this is correct. Sometimes you'll feel really worried and stressed about something. Like, you'd be like, oh my God, I have to get home. I'm running late. And you'd be immediately the subway gets delayed, or you're stuck in traffic and you're like half an hour late to get home, and you're supposed to meet somebody. And I have seen people who like have panic attacks because they're like, oh my God, I'm running late. I have to get home. I have to get home now. I'm so late. But people will absolutely have a panic attack and freak out about it. But here's the thing. What's the worst case scenario? Like, how bad is it really if you're a half an hour late? Like, and I'm not saying it's good to be half an hour late, but like, really, what is the absolute worst that is going to happen to you if you are half an hour late getting home? Right? Maybe, your friend had to stand there for a little longer than they normally would or something, right? Or someone's waiting on you and they have to wait a little while. Or maybe you miss your movie, right? Maybe the reason you're upset about being late is because you have a movie you want to go to. So what's the worst case scenario? You miss the movie, and when you're stuck in traffic and you want to see this movie, and you're running late, and your friend is waiting for you, and you're freaking out, and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna be late, I'm gonna be late, I'm gonna ruin everything. You're not gonna ruin everything. You might miss the beginning of the movie, but like, how bad is that really? I mean, it's a little bad. You wanted to see the movie, you were excited about seeing the movie, but like, slow down and think about this for a second. Maybe it's okay to miss a movie. Right? I mean, it's not going to ruin your life. You'll be fine. You could go out to, Zen Master says, you could go out to dinner and end up having a great conversation at dinner instead of a movie, right? Like, maybe the movie was terrible. Zen Master says, we'll see. So the point is that the Stoics say, think about the worst case scenario. It might actually make you feel better, which is interesting. All right, let's see what else he says here. Psychologists have long agreed that one of the greatest enemies of human happiness is hedonic adaptation. Hedonic has to do with happiness. Hedonism is enjoyment. So this word has to do with, it's called enjoyment adaptation is how I would put that. Now that's a little confusing, but he's going to define it right here. The predictable and frustrating way in which any new source of pleasure we obtain, whether it's as minor as a new electronic gadget or as major as a marriage, swiftly gets relegated to the backdrop of our lives. We grow accustomed to it, and it ceases to deliver so much joy. Hedonic adaptation, meaning that when you get something pleasurable, you adapt to it, you get used to it, and then the pleasurableness goes away. The best example of this is money. If you got $5,000, you found a bag full of money at $5,000, it's all yours, free money for you, you would be so fucking excited. I mean, how amazing would it be to just get $5,000 for fucking nothing? It'd be amazing. It'd be the fucking best day of your life. You'd be jumping up and down, freaking out. You'd have a great time. It'd be so good. But notice that people who make a lot of money don't actually seem that much happier. The money and the power, because they get used to it. People who make $5,000 a year more than you do, right? There are definitely people who make $5,000 a year more than you do. Somebody who makes $5,000 a year more than you do, it's like they found a bag of $5,000 once a year. There are people who make $5,000 a month more than you do. So it's like they found $5,000 every month. Are they excited about it? That $5,000 every month in the way that you would be excited if you found $5,000 just in a bag in front of your house? No. Why? Because they're used to it. They're used to that $5,000 a month extra. They're used to making $5,000 a month more than you. And so they don't even consider it special. They're just like, yeah, I picked up my paycheck and I paid my bills with it. And I paid my boat for my boat or whatever bullshit they have. But the point is that whatever you have, you can get used to it. And then it ceases to be interesting. Whereas so giving a poor person $5,000 once is so much more exciting than a rich person making $5,000 a month more than you, because they get used to that $5,000 a month and it just becomes part of their lives. And then they get annoyed by it, like, oh man, my driver of my golden car was such a jerk today. And they're not like always happier than you are because they have more money, because they've gotten used to their money and now they have other problems. Okay, cool. This is going really well. I'll pick this up in the next video.